On today's episode of the LifeKraft Podcast, we have Troy Maylin. He is a functional health and mindset coach from Australia that helps clients with a combination of health, nutrition, and mindset coaching to ensure they reach optimal health. He is a coach at heart, and in today's episode, we discuss everything from hormones to the gut, how your mindset influences your physical health, negative self-talk, estrogen dominance in the male body, and so much more. Are you ready to be inspired? Tag at the LifeKraft and at Troy Maylin _health coach and share a screenshot on your stories with us of your biggest takeaway from this episode. How did estrogen dominance affect you, and how did you start balancing that out? Because I don't think men talk about this enough, and it makes such a big difference to your moods, because most people only think women are moody, but we're kind of used to going through our cycles and having that, except if you have real trouble with your hormones. We understand the flow and the cycle that we go through, and the more in tune a woman gets with that, the better. But men kind of think that they are one way and that's how it is. But with the lifestyle that we've incorporated, with everything that is in the food and the types of food we eat, I see a rise in estrogen in male, just like the estrogen dominance is everywhere. And I'd really like you to touch on that because it's such a big issue.
Yeah. Hands down, beer. Beer is if you're a big beer drinker, estrogen dominance is going to be a part of your life at some point in time. It's simply because your liver is, we've got what's called an estrogen metabolism, right? And a lot of it is in the liver. Okay. And beer is quite high in wheat, barley, wheat, barley, rye, whatever, hops, basically that starts to trigger a lot of estrogen. And the liver is meant to metabolize that estrogen and basically put it back out into your stool, and it's meant to go out the other end. But when you have an imbalance in your gut microbiome, and you have what's called beta-glucuronidase, which is what certain bacteria produce, it basically catches back onto that estrogen and it recycles back through your system. And then that estrogen just keeps floating around and it doesn't leave. And if you keep drinking, keep eating it, it just builds up. And of course, alcohol starts to destroy that liver, it just destroys your liver too. So your efficiency to metabolize estrogen begins to decrease. And so it cycles and cycles. And what estrogen does is when it passes estrogen pockets, which are different in men and women, the estrogen pockets in men are things like the chest and the sides. And you've seen the classic beer gut where you look at a man and they've got skinny arms and skinny legs, but they've got like these flabby boobs and this big gut, and you're like, how is that even possible? It's because they're the estrogen pockets. Basically, when the estrogen passes through those pockets, there are estrogen receptors in it, and pretty much it says, "Yep, open up and let's start storing some fat."
Except for the physical symptoms, just to get that into the men's brains, what other symptoms show estrogen dominance? Because I think a lot of people know those skinny arms, skinny legs, and the beer belly, and the man boobs, as they are called. But what else? What signs also show an estrogen dominance in a male?
Emotions, hands down. Yeah. So a lot more sensitive, a lot more reactive, mood swings. We've all sort of experienced the guys that you almost slam a door, or you say something they don't like, and they're like, they can go from happy to like instantly angry. A lot more susceptible to that. It's mental health. It's basically being a little bit more sensitive than then basically a male that's going through puberty who's quite, testosterone driven. They're very selfless. They're selfish. They're very motivated to do what they want. They're, it's all about them, and going to the gym and and that's a very male dominant thing just because of the testosterone. It's definitely there, but you'll see males with a bit more estrogen will tend to be a little bit more softer, and a lot more or less in control of their emotions is probably a good way to put it too.
Yeah, I like that, because emotions are fine and we all have them, but the imbalance, that moodiness, that not feeling like yourself is a great indicator. Especially men who used to be very stable moods, very stable in their work, very driven, very motivated, and then suddenly very emotional, very low drive to do anything, just wants to sit in front of the TV, doesn't have that motivation to build and to conquer and to, so, okay, that is a fantastic way. How did you start, except for eliminating beer? Are there any other things that trigger that people can either remove from their diets or their lifestyles or add in that can help with estrogen dominance?
Yeah. So if you are a male with estrogen dominance, the best thing to start doing is removing all carbohydrates, because those carbohydrates are feeding the bacteria that keep cycling the estrogen through the bile and things like that. So first thing to do is start reducing those carbohydrates, because if you are someone who does have estrogen dominance, then you most likely got insulin resistance, which is another hormone that regulates blood sugar levels. But high insulin resistance is also linked to estrogen dominance. So trying to get both of them under control. So remove the carbohydrates. So pretty much going like a keto diet is, if you want to, if you want to start removing that estrogen dominance, and then start doing some liver work as well, like a liver refresh, use particular herbs and spices that basically start to refresh the detoxification phases of the liver. A particular supplement that I use, it's called calcium D-glucarate, and that basically neutralizes the beta-glucuronidase that the bacteria produce to basically recycle that estrogen in the system. So having things like that on board to basically start to reduce estrogen dominance. You can take things like DIM. That's another sort of a supplement that you can take to increase estrogen metabolism, to start clearing out that estrogen. Remove alcohol and any other sort of medications too, and then ultimately reduce your environmental toxins, which come in like skincare products, like a lot of cosmetics, things like if you're like a vegan or vegetarian and you're using tofu, be cautious of the tofu that you're eating. Make sure it's all organic. And a big one is, because most males are non-vegetarian, but eating grass-fed meat, because the beef that you have on your plate and like that big fat cut that most people use for flavor, they're estrogen dominant cows, and end of the day, what they eat, you eat. What they are, you are. So if the cow that you're eating or the meat that you're eating is estrogen dominant, guess what's going to happen to you? You're going to become estrogen dominant. So quality of the food is huge as well.
If listening to this episode inspired you to make some positive changes to your health and wellness, I have some exciting news for you. We have a 10-week program especially designed to help you break your toxic relationship with sugar. This course includes weekly lessons, a meal plan, shopping lists, recipes, and worksheets, all to help you eat less sugar, curb sugar cravings, and know how to create a healthy, sustainable relationship with sugar. So go to melissalane.com today and use the discount code LifeKraft to receive 10% discount when you enroll in the program.